Welcome to the Unofficial Steelers Podcast, the podcast so unofficial it doesn't have a home. Here's your host, from In Hindsight, Nathan Heitz. From Steelers Nation Australia, Mark Davison. And from State of the Steelers, Daniel J. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, another episode of the Unofficial Steelers Podcast here. Episode 29. Guys, did I get that episode number right? I think I did, right? 29?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, 29. Shout out to you guys in the chat. Welcome. Hopefully we see some few more here pop in as well to come hang out. But as you see by the title of the show, the Steelers still have a heartbeat right now. I feel like they're on, what's the word I'm looking for? I feel like they're on, what is it when you're on like your deathbed and you have like a little bit of life left?
A pulse, barely breathing.
A pulse, not a ventilator, but you're on, it's the word life is in it. Why am I missing out on? Life support. I feel like the Steelers are on life support right now because they need help from a couple other people to stay alive. So we'll talk about it. We'll get into it. Mark, Daniel, it is Mark's already in the new year. So Mark is already a year ahead of us. We're still a year behind.
Future.
So he is from the future. So Mark, what's it like being in 2023?
Are they flying cars?
Not yet. But I tell you what, I hate New Year's Eve. Over it. I'm done with the fireworks. There was fireworks like 4 times yesterday at 9, 12, random park fireworks, some neighbor little fireworks. We get it. It's New Year. Don't care about it. I'm over it. I'm angry, right? That's why I'm upset. I'm angry.
Well, Mark, you made it through, bro.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most overrated eves ever. Of all the eves.
Well, Daniel, you are currently. Well, aren't you an hour behind Eastern time?
Yeah. Right now it's 5:23 where I'm at.
Okay.
Ooh,
So
you guys are
6:23 here.
New
So
Year's
you
Eve
are about 7 hours away from your birthday?
Yeah. 7 hours away from everybody counting down to say happy birthday to me.
So, ladies and gentlemen, when you count down tonight, if you're watching the ball drop, when you count down tonight, yell out "Happy Birthday, Daniel" instead of "Happy New Year."
I want to hear it loud and clear across the world.
Loud and clear. Yeah, happy birthday to him. So, guys, again, thank you all for tuning in. We're going to be talking about the game Sunday night. We're going to be talking about some important games as well that are be going on in the afternoon. And the question I'm going to start with here, George, howdy to you. Question that I'm going to start with here for Mark, for Daniel, for you guys in the chat. Come Sunday night, will the Steelers still be alive? Daniel, will they be alive?
I mean, that's, before the game starts, that's will be a question. That's going to be something that everybody's looking for. They're going to be looking at Miami, who's Tua-less. He's in the protocol again. I believe the Jets are another team that the Steelers need to lose against the Seahawks, right? And so those are only 2 things that need to happen in order for the Steelers to be still alive. The fact that they flex this game tells me that the NFL probably believes that the Steelers are going to be alive and that they're going to have a reason to play this game. I sure do hope so. I think there's that opportunity, and if they do, I mean, they're going into next week, the last week of the year, with something to play for. And who would have thought that halfway through the season this year? I know I didn't.
Right. Mark?
Yeah, I think
Daniel's holding out hope. Do you think the Steelers will still be alive and breathing Sunday night?
I think so, because both teams, Patriots are playing at home. They're playing for an AFC wild card as well, right? They're playing for, if they win this game, they got a chance next week. And then we need the Pats to lose next week. But the Seattle Seahawks are also playing for the playoffs too. They're not eliminated yet. Right. So they're playing. Both teams are playing at home, which is helpful. And Miami Dolphins haven't got Tua. And I don't even know with the Jets also. It's Geno Smith versus his old team. So you got the Jets at Seattle, which is the 4 p.m. game. So I would expect like Seattle to turn up. Hopefully, they've been playing pretty good all year. And also Seattle, I thought they were going to be written off the whole year, right? And they've won 7 games, so
Yeah.
they're now on the chance.
Yeah,
for the
I think
playoffs.
everybody probably thought Seattle was going to win like 4 games.
I
5.
had them 3 games the whole year. I thought they were going to be an awful team with
Yeah.
no quarterback, and then Geno Smith started playing really well. But I think New England can hopefully take care of Miami this week. I'm not too worried about. Like, I want to see some meaningful football. We'll just win 2 games, and then Steelers versus Ravens will be super meaningful because next week you can still push for the playoffs. But the minute the Dolphins win, the minute the Jets win, then it's not as meaningful as it should be. But still,
Right.
it's still Steelers versus Ravens. But it would be fantastic to see Sunday Night Football and the 2 things go our way, and we have a chance playoffs in Week 18.
Yeah, I really hope that the Steelers, at least for this week, that the Dolphins and Seattle, or that the Dolphins lose and Seattle wins. I really hope that because the Steelers Ravens, they have not played a primetime game against each other in quite a few years. And the fact that we would be able to get to watch a game like that, primetime, Steelers got to win to keep alive, would be a lot of fun. So I really hope that not just as a fan, but just for the sake of the Sunday night game, for the sake of Steelers Ravens, that it's still a meaningful game. And even for both teams, it's still a meaningful game for the Ravens.
Yeah, they need
play
to win
Cincinnati
the
next
North.
week. So it's still a meaningful win for them. But how would you guys feel, not putting this energy out there, but how would you feel if the Steelers had to win to stay alive and they didn't win?
That would suck. That would be freaking
How
awful.
deflated would that be?
If everything went our way, like the Dolphins lose and the Seahawks win easily, and it's like Sunday Night Football, and the Steelers lose, and they lose 24-17 or 24-10 or 30, whatever, that would absolutely suck. And then the season's done because you're eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah.
That would suck.
It would. Now, if the Dolphins lose, and let's say Seattle loses, will the Steelers still be eliminated even if the Dolphins lost and Seattle lost?
Yes. So no matter what, if the Jets or Dolphins win, then they're out. They're done. They're done.
That's it. Okay.
So there's only 6 games, 6 results need to go our way. Dolphins lose, Jets lose, and then Ravens lose. We're still in it. And then so we'll be scoreboard watching the whole day, but it's in like increments because the first game's at 1 p.m., then it's like 4 p.m., then it's a night time. So it's in stages. If we make it through this week, the next week in week 19 or 18, whatever the last week is, then we're scoreboard watching probably the same time because George says, what will they flex next week? In my opinion, they're going to flex the Titans versus Jags because that has to be a division game.
Has the schedule even come out for next week?
Nah, not yet. Not until after this. Not this one.
Well, I'd imagine the Steelers game's at 1:00, right?
They normally put them all the same. They put them all the same.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it right now. Everything is to be determined. That's insane.
Well, they'll probably wait and see what matchups have the meaning.
They really stuffed up last year. They stuffed up and they gave away a bit of what's going on. If people, the people out there, and I kind of agree to a certain degree that it's more or less entertainment if it's rigged or not. But they really stuffed up last year because they put down to the wire Chargers versus Raiders, and you're like, there's no way it can go down to last 3 seconds. Like there is some Vegas riggery there, something going on with the refs and that kind of stuff. So they really stuffed it up. And I don't think they'll do it this year. But as a Steelers fan, like you're better off watching the game with other games going at the same time because then the players are, even Najee said he was going to scoreboard watch today. I'm a bit worried, actually, a tiny bit worried about Najee and maybe the team watching the Pats win or lose and maybe not being too prepared. I don't know if it's going to make too much sense. But the next week in week 18 is like, you play them all at the same time at 1 p.m. Or whatever it is, or 4. You play the most of the games there. And I think the primetime game next week will be Jags versus Titans because those 2 teams have to win the division.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that too. Brian, appreciate you tuning in, man. Good to see you. George, Steelers fan. Kels, Steelers girl.
I've got a question, though.
Jer, good to see all you guys. Drunk Turkey Show. Thank you all for tuning into the show tonight.
How do you guys feel if the Dolphins win at 1 p.m.?
Well, then then see you later.
It's like, what do you do?
Take the game off of Sunday night. Make them play it for.
Flex it back.
Yeah, flex it back.
Like, That would imagine if they flex it back straight away. They're just like, oh, actually,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
a bit
know,
would suck
man.
too.
I
Like
don't
Dolphins
know.
go out there and they win, and you know the games you watch where you know the team can't come back, like they're down by 14-17. You're like, oh, they're not going to win. You know,
Yeah.
that would suck because then obviously our playoffs. You know, we always want to play for the playoffs.
Right.
But that would be just terrible if they won without Tua, and then the Jets game didn't matter, and we still have Steelers versus Ravens. But it's like it means something, but then it doesn't. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be a big it's gonna be a big afternoon tomorrow.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Do you guys think even if the Steelers do not make the playoffs, if they miss out, whether if that's tomorrow or the next week, if they miss out, would you guys are you guys still encouraged going into next season? Mark, you can go ahead first. Would you still be encouraged with everything you've seen the second half? Steelers finishing with, if they finish with 7 wins, 8 wins, whatever the case is, they don't make the playoffs. Are you still encouraged of them going into the offseason and saying, hey, if they can be aggressive or if they have a good offseason, do what they got to do, they can find themselves right back in the AFC North?
Yeah, they're 5-2 since the bye, and they've only let the other 2 teams, the AFC North, beat them. So, and that those games you can figure them out. You know, you don't want your rivals to beat you or sweep you. And also, that's why it's another meaningful game too. You don't want the Ravens to sweep you this year. You want to at least go 1-1 with them. So, yeah, I think we're heading in the right direction. I thought that the Raiders game, some were saying out there was a pretty boring game, it's low scoring. I thought it was a fantastic game. I thought. And by the way, what the Mike Tomlin said, we grew up today. You know, I thought, and I actually watched the thing on Instagram where he's running around the players, and no matter what everyone says about firing Tomlin, look at the players. Najee loves him. The players love to play for him. So that's all the evidence.
Players always have.
Yeah, there's like the whole 1 minute clip I saw on Steelers Instagram of Tomlin running around, being almost giddy. He started singing the Wiz Khalifa song "Black and Yellow." Like, he's like so pumped up. He kind of knows this team's going in the right direction. I guess this is maybe, if you use the Fire Tomlin's argument, this could be his team. But they grew up today. They had a good win, and things can get better from this point. I think it was almost like that drive going down the field to win that game is like it's a turning point. I think in this Steelers team and this young team going forward. So definitely, it's all positive from here. But you got to back it up. Like you got to back it up with a win versus Ravens
you do.
And finish the
the
Browns. But
and you know the Steelers wish they had that Ravens game back, man. That game was winnable to the very final seconds of that game. And that's kind of when you look back at, and Daniel, I'll get to you real quick following up after Mark. But if you look at that game, and even if you could look at the Jets and the Patriots game, even the Dolphins game from that Sunday night when they lost 16-10, when they could have won and they dropped 4 interceptions that game and all that stuff. Even if they won half those games, they're in a playoff spot. And all those games were one possession games, 1 score games, whatever the case is. And yeah, they lost. They lost those. I'm just saying, when you look back at that after this year, and you look back at that, you're like, you know what? Man, those hurt. And that's why I said, like, hey, they got to start off 3-1, start the year. And they did. Devin, what's up, man? Here we go, show. Appreciate you tuning in. I'm sure you're looking forward to Sunday afternoon tomorrow as well. But it's still one of those things where I like what you said, Mark. And I agree too. I think that you can still take, even if they miss the playoffs, you can still take what they've done this second half and say, okay, I'm encouraged. Let's have a good offseason and let's get to where you need to be next year. Daniel, what about you? If they miss the playoffs, are you still encouraged that they can find themselves back in the AFC North race next year? Better team, better record, whatever the case may be, even if they miss out. You encouraged by what they've done in the second half?
Oh yeah, I mean, you look at the first half of the season, and I spoke about this earlier on my Behind the Steel Curtain podcast that was put out earlier today, and then also I spoke about it on my mailbag. where, somebody had asked me if I could change something, going back, what would it be? And my opinion was I would have started Kenny Pickett from the go, got him prepped, got him ready, not start him during an
Right.
onslaught of
Right.
the hardest part of the schedule, right? Have him get that comfortability, have this offense start to grow and learn from training camp and from go, give him all the first team reps. I think had the Steelers done that, they would have won a couple of those games that you mentioned. They would have been more prepared for, and they probably would have been more competitive against those games that they lost significantly by a significant margin, because at
Yeah, I
that
agree.
point, he would have been a little bit more understanding of the offense, and the movement would go good. Now, going into next season, I didn't think that there was going to be a possibility for the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
I thought that they would need to finish strong, and I felt that if they had a winning record going down the second half of the season, that was going to be a good sign of looking in the right direction. And at this point, even if they lose the next two games, they still would have a winning record going into the second half of the season.
Right.
Now, I don't foresee them losing these two games unless they get kicked out of the playoffs and they're just, not there mentally and for the game, and the Ravens have something to play for still. They're still trying to win the North. And so, I think if the Steelers are still in it and they're still going at it, I think they're going to win. But even if they don't make the playoffs this year, this is a good stepping stone. It's a good confidence booster for everybody across the team. You had an offensive line that was being ridiculed early on. You have an offensive coordinator who's been ridiculed. You have a defensive coordinator who's now, taking a little bit of heat here of recent. Maybe not so much in the last two games, but, there's been a lot of questions as far as personnel, as far as why Robert Spillane is getting a lot of the snaps, things of that nature.
Yeah.
And everybody's harping for, Brian Flores to be the new DC. This team is getting better as they grow. It's a young team. And, if they were to win the next two games, that's 7-2 on the back end of the season.
Yeah.
Going into next season, you're playing, who's it, the South, I think is.
So, so next year they'll be playing the NFC West.
Uh-huh.
And then they will be playing this year they played the AFC East.
Yeah, it should be
last year. Yeah, so it'll be the AFC South next year.
So next year they're going to have, regardless of how the season ends, they're going to have a third place divisional strength schedule, plus not the two strongest divisions in the league right now. I mean, you're looking at the West. They have the 49ers. Maybe the Rams are a little bit better next year when they're healthier.
Right.
Maybe not. You're gearing up for a good possibility, and you have the offseason that I think the Steelers have an opportunity of having. They're going into next season with over $17 million extra from this season getting rolled over to next, as far as cap space goes, and you have 4 picks in the top 100.
Yeah.
You're really putting yourself in position to get better. It's all about just building confidence at this point.
Yeah. No, it really is. And that's completely hit on the head, Daniel, there. It really is. And that's something some Steeler fans have to realize, is that you're not going to make the playoffs every freaking year, number one. Number two, this was a different type of season than what the Steelers have had. Nobody knew how it was going to go. And you had to let every game go as it comes. You're going to have growing pains throughout the year. You're going to have some good things. You're going to have some bad. And that's what we've seen this year. So I think that it's remarkable that this team has still found themselves with a heartbeat at this point in the year. And you have to really give credit where that's due. You got to give credit to Mike Tomlin, even though if you
he
don't
won't
like
get
him,
none, though. That's what I understand. He won't get any damn credit. Like, this is what I don't like. I can't stand about the fan base. It's only the 5% of people. It's only the 5%. They all said it's going to be an awful year, and it has been a pretty bad year. And we still have a heartbeat. How can you not be happy with that?
Yeah.
Like, that to me is just insane. Like, the fact that we have 6 games to go to get the playoffs, right? And if that happens, then I got to go buy a table. I got to get ready for my table, right? Well, I legit don't understand. If you go back at the start of the season, actually, I don't know what your guys' records were. Mine was like 13-4 because I'm super biased, right? A lot of
13 wins, Mark.
Yeah, I just thought, fuck it. A lot of fans out there, though, are like, oh, we're going to go terrible this year. Trubisky's bad, or Tomlin can't coach without Ben. Like, if you thought that, Now Mike Tomlin has a chance to go 9-8 and a chance for the playoffs. Like, what
Yeah.
more do you want? If you had low expectations, then they're exceeding them.
Yeah.
All right. Now, to me,
Yeah.
they're not. They should be winning the North every year, but that's just me
Yeah.
being jokingly stupid. But I legit don't understand that the team still has a chance. The Pats go our way. The Seahawks go our way. We're watching a game for a week 18, like fingernail biting experience of like, oh my goodness, we can make the 7th. Then here's the point that I really struggle with. If we make the 7th, the Tomlin haters and all those guys, the tankers, push the goalpost back even further. They go, well, if we make the 7th, there's no point. They're never happy. They're consistently never happy. So I like the way they've turned around this game. But I got a question for you guys too. In the Bengals game, right? That was after the bye.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the reason why? I'm trying to figure it out as I look for the stats. What's the reason why we lost that game? They were up at the halftime 2017. But I think the offense just wasn't working or clicking in the second half.
The third quarter was a complete bust.
Like failure, right?
Yeah, it was 3-and-out city the entire third quarter.
Okay, and then is that pretty much the reason? Because they got like 5 yards. They couldn't even get more than.
Yeah, the Bengals just started to take advantage, man. They just started to take advantage and everything like that. And it was a fun game. Like it was a fun game. They had a chance, but
because they were up 2017,
a young offense that just wasn't getting it going.
2017. It looks like here that 3-and-out 1 yard, 6 yards, 3-and-out 6 yards. So we didn't have a chance until the fourth, and we came back, 37-30. But that game could have been almost winnable at the halftime. Things didn't go our way. The Ravens game was definitely winnable. But it's just frustrating. I think that the only 5% of the fans, the loudest guys in the room, saying, "Well, this season sucks." But if you say it sucks or it was going to be bad, the position you're in now, you have a chance to win. And I'm not saying they can win in the playoffs, but at the same time, they still have a chance.
No, they do. Yeah, they do for sure. I was around the ballpark of 8 or 9 just because I didn't know, and there goes Mark. Not sure why Mark lagged out there. He'll be back. But I was around the 8 to 9 win ballpark just because I didn't know how good the quarterback situation was too uncertain. And I could not, that's why I kept him around that type of level, because I had faith in Mike Tomlin to still keep the team competitive, even though I wasn't quite sure how it was going to go. And I had to kind of wait and see how this young offense was going to go. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what Mark said. He's kind of a hypocrite if that's the thing. Daniel, do I have to re-invite him, or can he can join back, can he?
Yeah, he can join back in. He's gonna be in the backstage until you let him back on. But you'll see him at the bottom.
Him pop up. Yeah,
he'll pop up at the bottom, and you'll have to bring him in there.
And so I was a fan that I didn't put any expectations on this year. It was a different season, and I was just gonna let it play out. And I was somebody where when they were struggling and they only had 3 or 4 wins, I was like, look, yes, it's not a good year. There's a lot of factors going in. There's some good also that you can take away. But I just wanted to see the team have a strong second half. I didn't have playoffs on my mind. I didn't say I want to see the team make a push or anything like that. I was like, I just want to see a strong second half, finish on a high note, and do what you got to do in the offseason, because I still don't think the team is – I'm not saying that they're close to being a Super Bowl contender or anything, but I don't think – I've always said, hey, if they can just make the right moves in the offseason, they can find themselves right back into being at the top of the division. And you look at right now, I mean, they could still finish 9-8 and make the playoffs. So that's not really far-fetched from me saying that. So Mark will be back. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still just waiting to see it play out. I'm not really expecting, a playoff type of thing, but it would still be kind of fun if it happened, and everything like that. Yeah, so we'll wait for Mark.
Here's my thing. I think that
go ahead, Daniel. Go ahead.
I think if the Steelers were to make it, the opponent that I would want, and I'll ask you this: who would you want to see? I would want to see the Steelers play the Bengals for Week 1 in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that a little bit of a rematch. Mark talked about it right now. The Steelers were up 20-17 at the half, and then they just kind of blew it in the third quarter.
I agree.
They beat them in the first game of the season, took possession of the ball 5 different times away from Joe Burrow and the Bengals. they're a team that has slowly become a team that I really dislike, and out of the division. Before it was the Ravens, but the Ravens really haven't. Well, they beat us this year a couple weeks ago, but it was just that it was the Steelers actually beat themselves. So it hasn't been a competitive competition the way it has been in years past with the Ravens. I mean, I know the games had always come down to like 3 points or whatever, but it always ended with a Steelers victory for the most part.
Right.
And so because of that, and the fact that we've lost a handful of times to the Bengals, I think they have become the hated team so far, or for me at least. I would want to see them week one in the
Bengals, mate.
Playoffs. Yeah, I'd want to see them week one.
Mark, I would love to see a Steelers Bengals playoff just for the sake of seeing Mark's content.
It would just be. You know what? I've never met a guy, or I've never met Joe Burrow. I've never known a person to have like 9 nicknames. How do you have 9 nicknames?
Yeah,
Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty, Joe Cool. Man, choose one. Joe Shithead.
Yeah, I don't know, Mark. I really don't know.
My computer's turned off.
That's right. You're still lagging around there, Mark.
Yeah, no,
you're still on here.
I'm gonna remove him for a second.
Yeah, there he is.
What is going on?
There you are.
I think a firework.
I doubt it.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there in Australia, but
I think it's that Y2K.
Might be the government, Mark. I don't
know. Y2K finally struck. It took 23 years.
Yeah,
it finally happened.
So,
we're a bit
going into tomorrow and all the anticipation and everything like that. If the Steelers let's say the Steelers go 9-8 and they lose in the first round to whoever they play, would you consider this a successful season? Daniel, go ahead.
First. Yeah, hell yeah, man. The fact that they make the playoffs going 2-6 at the bye week, like nobody was saying that. I mean, at the bye week, I think the Steelers
it was projected top 5 pick the rest of the way.
I think they were at one point in the season, probably I think after about 5 games in, I think they were 1-4 at the time.
Yeah,
they were that late in the season, and they were sitting at the number 1 overall pick in the draft. And I had never seen that by the Pittsburgh Steelers in my entire lifespan, where they were sitting at the number 1 pick. That I know it's just a quarter into the season, but that late into the season, they were still sitting there. That maybe 2012 or 13, Le'Veon Bell's rookie year when they went 0-4.
Yeah, 2013, I think.
Yeah, that was probably the last time. But even then, you knew the type of team that you had, the players that you had on the team. You knew that team was going to turn it around. This team is just a bunch of question marks. You know what I'm saying? Because you have a rookie quarterback, you have Mitch Trubisky, you have, 2 offensive line pieces who going, in preseason, that offensive line I was looking suspicious as hell. And so,
the preseason, they were getting hammered.
Exactly. And so, there was a lot of question marks going into this season. And then for them to find their way into the playoffs, regardless of the outcome of the playoff, I think Mark needs to jump through a table just for that.
I really think it would warrant it, Mark. I really do.
I'm only doing it if they win this Super Bowl. Right? it's still a chance if they win. Okay, look, I just found out some information here. So when's the last time? Not last time, but how rare is it for a rookie to win it to make the playoffs? Right. I'll answer my own question.
It's
very
not
rare.
Often. It's not all the time.
2013. I think it was one of the last times that they won a game or something like that. But it says here, first round rookie quarterbacks since 2013. Here's the guys that didn't make it in their first year: Joe Burrow 2-7-1, Justin Herbert 6-9, Kyler Murray 5-10-1, Daniel Jones 3-9, Baker Mayfield 6-7, Sam Darnold 4-9. The list goes on. Yeah. Trubisky 4-8, Carson Wentz 7-9, Winston 6-10. So even just getting there with Kenny Pickett being a rookie quarterback is a win, I think.
No, I agree. I saw somebody. I know that. Look, the stuff with Mike Tomlin, it seems like really the only narrative that comes along with is his lack of playoff success. That he's had 3 or 4 playoff wins over the last 10 years or whatever it's been. Look, I understand that argument with the talent they had on offense. They had putrid defenses through that time too. They didn't have any good defenses through that time. But when you look at a guy like Mike Tomlin, like, I understand that, but you have to recognize too that there's multiple other Hall of Fame-esque caliber coaches that have either had worse than that or are just along the same type of line. And I don't see Sean Payton getting crucified for it. Didn't see Andy Reid in Philadelphia getting crucified for it. I haven't seen John Harbaugh get crucified for it. So Mike Tomlin, look, Mike Tomlin's not a perfect coach. I don't really think there is a perfect coach. But to me, I've always liked him in the sense because I think there's more to like than there's not. And if for those that don't like him or want them to move on, that's fine. That's your opinion. That's fine. But I think this guy, more times than not, brings his team ready to play. He's always keeping them competitive, no matter what situation they're in. And as a fan, you look at all of the fans around the NFL of all these teams. Look how many teams go through coach after coach after coach after coach. It doesn't stop. You look at the organizations that can never figure it out and are poverty for freaking years. So this has been a down, quote unquote, a down year for the Steelers. But at the same time, in their down season, they're still alive to the end. And this is a type of season that you're telling me Texan fans or Lion fans over the years or Browns fans or Washington fans wouldn't die for over all those years? Of course they would.
The Browns did throw a parade for going 0-16.
I mean, they really did. And I thought
they cracked the beer in the stadium. This is the worst part. What I can't stand about the Fire Tomlin fans is they win either way. Now, if you're saying that Tomlin hasn't won a playoff game in 4 whatever chances, right? What if he does win a playoff game with Kenny Pickett? Does he not get enough? Does he not get? Where's the credit for that?
Oh well, he didn't make it to the AFC Championship. That's what it would be, Mark. They didn't get to the AFC Championship.
I am legit done with him. I feel like giving him a stone cold stunner. Like I'm actually done with him because if they win either way, they win when they're angry, they win when they're happy. But the thing is, if Kenny gets there and Mike Tomlin wins with Kenny, he deserves a lot of credit to win a playoff game with a rookie quarterback. You know, so. Their logic doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't when you think about it.
No, it's the same narrative, bro, year after year. Even when they lost in the AFC Championship to the Patriots, it was the same thing. That
was a hard game, though, dude. I was in the.
I know. How many teams won in New England during those times?
And
not many.
We couldn't stop Edelman. They just couldn't stop him. Like, he killed us.
But not many teams won in New England anyway. That was hard to do. So, I don't know. It's one of those things, no matter however long he's the coach for, it's always going to be a narrative. And like I said, it's fine. Look, if you have your opinion and you don't like them, you're not a fan of them, you think they got to move on. Look, that's fine. You're entitled to that, your opinion. At the same time, there's many people out there that like him and are still glad he's the head coach.
He deserves credit.
I think we're all in that same boat.
He deserves credit, I think, even for the win against the Raiders. He deserves credit after getting the team back on track. He deserves credit for,
after a 2-6 start. Absolutely.
Exactly. Look, and it was his fault as well. There's pressure on him too at the start.
Yeah,
but like
he had his faults this year too. Absolutely, he did.
Big time. But he's figured it out. But if he gets Kenny to the playoffs and we're watching Kenny football in the playoffs, when we're watching that, that deserves some credit. And if he wins that game, if he goes and beats the Chiefs or the Bengals, I just don't understand that. Legit,
I would love to see them beat the Bengals in the first round if they made it. If that was the game, I'd love to see that.
Okay, maybe I might jump for a table for that one. This table here, it might just bounce off my bed and go right through it.
Yep. Well, it's going to be a big. It's going to be Z. I have it on my TV in the back. It's going to be a big Sunday afternoon tomorrow. I think really all Steeler fans are going to be paying attention to the couple games that matter. Hopefully it goes the Steelers' way where the Sunday night game, it's actually meaningful. Do you guys think have you guys seen the report at all that the Steelers are most likely going to move on from Matt Canada?
Yeah, I saw that.
Daniel, did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it. I made a video on it.
Do you guys think even with where they're at right now, still alive, we know the Steelers in the second half have been a little bit better offensively. Do you guys both think that is the right move? Mark, go ahead.
I'm not overly sure. Like, of course, I was, on the Fire Canada, bandwagon for sure. And I was yelling one of the loudest guys. But I don't know where the rumor comes from. I don't understand where this rumor starts. It started from like 93.8 Point in the Fan or whatever, one of those dudes there. Yeah. Is it coming from the locker room? How do they know? Is it going to happen? Steelers don't really fire their coaches like that. So I don't really overly trust the rumor, but it's actually blown up out of nowhere for one comment saying what he thought. One of the blokes there thought that the players and coaches weren't happy with him, so they're going to get rid of him.
Right.
And now it's a thing. The timing of it all doesn't really make sense with 2 weeks to go. You're trying to get your team pumped up and ready. Why release that stuff now? Of course, they want to be the first to do it. But I think that station is renowned to release rumors, that kind of stuff. A lot of things coming out of that. Is it Filipponi and the other blokes there?
Yeah,
So,
dude, they're all a bunch of freaking.
I don't really get why it came out. I do because of the media sense. But in the same sense too, Steelers just don't normally fire their coaches. So he was probably going to go out the rest of the next season or the year after.
So I got a comment on that. Wasn't this the same guy that said that there's some people in the front office that don't want Tomlin back right before they extended him? I think it is. And so, those rumors come out quite a bit. I don't put much weight on it. It doesn't really make any sense when he says that the players know that he's gone. I don't think the Steelers, you look at what they did with, in my opinion, I don't think they put a man who they're going to have come out of the, be fired at the end of the year in front of the cameras like that.
Yeah.
Every single week in front. Know they're going to be asked a question. Know they're going to be asked a bunch of different stuff. I just feel that at the end of the day, I think it was some kind of clickbait, and it worked. It got everybody talking about him.
Yeah.
But one thing I can't stand is just like, can this team just not stay away from drama? Like every year, it's
Daniel, it's in the DNA, bro.
Do you guys know the exact quote? What it was? I'm trying to find the exact.
I saw it
quote.
by the Steelers Nation Twitter page that they got a report from somebody that said that it's likely that they're going to. I have not seen like a Schefter or a Rappaport come out with it, but that Steeler Nation page that's pretty popular. I saw they got it from some source. I don't know where. I think it was sometime this past week or last week. They were.
But it's one radio guy, right? One radio guy saying he thinks or he feels like this is going to happen. That's what it's stemmed from, right? Now, if it happens, I don't care either way. I just want the team to be successful. I want the team to be scoring more points, but I think it does, throw Matt kind of under the bus a little bit at the time we go into a playoff hunt. Not the right timing, and of course, it's all for clicks, and it has made us talk about it.
September 26, 2022, this year, after 3 games, Andrew Filipponi puts out a text message saying that majority of the Steelers' offensive players want Matt Canada fired. This was 3 weeks into the season. Like, man, this is just clickbait crap, dude. Like, this is not something that he hasn't done before.
He's known for it, right? That Filippono dude, he's known for it, isn't he?
Well, yeah, dude. He plays a shtick too, man. He plays a freaking shtick that gets people going and stuff like that. But, yeah, I don't know. I think if they move on from Canada, I think there's a plethora of guys that would be interesting. But here's the thing: if they would fire him and hire somebody else, there's still going to be people that complain about it, right? There's still going to be people that love it. There's still going to be people that question it. And it's no matter what, you're not going to make every fan happy. I've seen people say, oh, Frank Reich, right? I've seen people say, no, don't bring him in. I've seen Deuce Staley. I've seen Eric Bahimi. I don't even know. The list goes on and on. So no matter what, not everybody's going to be happy with the hiring. But it's going to be interesting with that. Now, also on top of it, Daniel, do you have to get going here, bro?
Oh, yeah, man. Thank you so much for reminding me. I do. I appreciate it. I just want to say I appreciate everybody in the live chat, everybody who's watching. Please check me out on Steelers.
Yes.
Behind the Steel Curtain, Saturday only podcast. I appreciate everybody. I think the Steelers are going to win. I'll give you guys my prediction before I go.
Yeah,
the Steelers are going to win 24-13 in this game. This is going to be a game that's not won by 3 for the first time in a while. I think that the way Kenny Pickett's playing and the way he played that last drive, the Steelers' offense was moving the ball against the Ravens 3 weeks ago. It was Mitch Trubisky's, decisions to not look off the receiver and throw 3 interceptions in the scoring zone, that caused us to lose. I mean, even if we get field goals in those situations, the Steelers are winning by more than one score in that game.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking they're winning 24-13, and I think they keep their playoff hopes alive, at least for one more week.
I love to hear it. We hope that's the case. We really do.
Daniel, stick around. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy Daniel birthday! Woo!
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Daniel's
I
birthday
appreciate
at midnight,
it, guys.
everybody. Daniel's birthday at midnight.
Celebrate.
Daniel, I'll shoot you a message.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And if you guys want to get me something, just go subscribe to my channel, and I'll
Go
appreciate
subscribe to
that.
the channel, man. He'll take that as a birthday gift. Drunk Turkey
Yes,
Show,
sir.
guys. He does, if you're into
True crime.
conspiracies, murder mysteries, if you guys are into any of that type of talk, he does that over there with a good group of guys. They've been growing really well. State of the Steelers, he does his thing on Behind the Steel Curtain, so give him a shout out. Mark and I are still going to hang in here for just a little bit longer, but Daniel, good talking, man. Go
See y'all
Steelers.
later.
See you,
All
man.
right, and we'll catch you later,
enjoy,
bro.
Enjoy the day.
Happy New
Thank
Year.
you, guys. Happy New Year to y'all. And Happy New Year to everybody in the live chat.
Yes,
Peace
sir.
out.
All right, so Mark, what was it that we were talking about, man? The Matt Canada stuff. All right, so here's
Pretty much
something
the
for
Matt
you.
Canada stuff,
Another
yeah, I'm just-
coaching thing. Is
Yeah.
Brian Flores gone? Is he going to be a head coach next year?
For the Steelers?
No, somewhere else. He's going to be a head coach somewhere.
Oh, the thing is, I don't think so. I think the Steelers, he's got a 2-year contract, right?
I
I
don't know
think
what his contract
I
is.
think he had a 2-year contract. The Steelers don't normally, the Steelers normally just let the contract play out. And they walk away, right? So with the Matt Canada stuff, the rumor is the rumor. Now, if they move on from him, it's, you know what? I don't really care, to be honest. Sometimes we worry a lot about the coaches, don't we? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We
Yeah.
worry so much about the coaches and this and this and this, and it's like, just let them do their job, and then hopefully the team can play good. But I wouldn't mind seeing someone else in there as long as we can score points. For Brian Flores, I think he's on a 2-year contract as the middle linebacker coach or secondary assistant. Now, will he get promoted? I don't know. To me, if I was Flores, I would just, because he's going for the outside the NFL stuff. He's trying to sue him and whatever he's doing with that, right? He's doing that stuff too. I would just stay there with the Steelers. Just stay there and then figure it out.
Well,
Build your resume and
yeah.
then go back and do it if you want to. Do you have to hurry into being a head coach? Do you want that responsibility? I think the Steelers are fine there. They've been playing a lot better on defense with the Charleston defense as of late too by stopping the run. They stopped the Panthers. They stopped Josh Jacobs for like 50 yards. Like that is something also we haven't talked about is the run defense has really stepped up. I think Ogunjobi might be out this game. I think he's on the flex. But it's like, and I agree with what Jed says. Whatever team decides, I'm all for it. Like they've just gotten better after the bye. And Tomlin's a part of that reason. Whoever has people under Tomlin, if they keep Canada and things improve and they can get the red zone points, and they can score some points, then we're all happy, aren't we? So it's all fine, man. It's all good.
We really are. And it'd be interesting if Brian Flores took over DC. I was never really a big fan of Terrell Austin, just given his track record. But the defense has been playing better still. And I don't know if they'll move on from him, if they promote Flores. I would imagine Flores would have something. If Flores would have some type of interest, I would imagine he would have to have something, but it would also have to make sense for him. I'd be all for him being DC though. He can run a defense, that's for sure. Yeah, if you guys have any other questions or comments, you guys can leave in the chat for Mark and I. We're gonna just stick around for just a little bit longer.
Yeah, I just want to say, man, it's not what we're facing now as a Steelers fan base is not a bad thing. It really is not a bad thing when you think about it. And a lot of guys know me for being really positive, but the thing is, it's really not a bad thing. The Steelers have 6 games away from the playoffs. The season's gotten better. Kenny Pickett's played some good football this year. He's our rookie. He's our guy next year. Frymouth's went off. You know, George Pickens a guy. Gerald Warren, we found him as a guy. Najee stepped up. The O-line has played better this year. They were pretty arse at the start, but they're starting to play a lot better. Our defense, we had no TJ Watt. He was our defense from the start. Minka's played all pro. You know, Terrell Edmonds, they might sign him back next year too. Kazi's filled in. There's some things that have happened this team that it's like, it's not bad. It's not really overly a bad season. I think this is a better season than what a lot of people thought was going to happen. Yeah. And we still have a chance. So, and winning isn't bad too. The Bears are losing. We have the high pick in Claypool, right? It's like, what's, you know what? Okay, if we don't win the Super Bowl, fine. What do? But there's a chance next year we can really push the envelope and maybe go for maybe go for the playoffs.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
I'm just like, this season is not overly bad season. Bad start. If they can finish 7-2 after the bye, that's a win, man. It's a win.
No, it really is. Even if they get it or not, it really is. And I think any fan, that's what you want to see as a fan. And that's why I'll never understand, not even just for Steeler fans, really a fan of any type of fan base that might be in a similar situation that just wants you to tank. That's something I won't ever understand, because when you kind of have some youth there and you have especially a rookie quarterback, stuff like that, you want them to finish strong. You want them to play well. You want them to take a step from here to here. And that's what we're seeing in the second half of the season. So whether they make the playoffs or not, as a Steeler fan, you should be happy and encouraged by what you're seeing there. And then you take that in the offseason, do what you got to do there, and you're right back in it. So I don't know.
It's honestly, I think as well, in Australia, we don't have the draft, right? There's no drafting stuff like that. Well, the AFL does, but the NRL doesn't. So I think the draft is more of an excuse for some fans to be like, you know what? We need a tank for draft picks, but that doesn't overly solve the issue of the culture. And the Steelers have had a winning culture for a very long time now, near the end of Big Ben days, and we're here and there everywhere. But like that win against the Raiders was fantastic. If they can win 2 in a row and go into next season with a 9-7 record, then guys like GP are going to be fired up next year.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. Winning's not a bad thing.
You want to play better. That brings morale. That brings encouragement to fans. That brings that's what you want from the organization.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing us winning right now, and tanking to me doesn't solve anything. But I'm super excited, man. I think tomorrow, if the Pats can take care of business, the Pats can beat the Dolphins.
Yeah.
If the Jets can lose to the Seahawks, then that primetime game, 8 p.m., get a beer, go buy some pizza, sit down and enjoy your bloody team. So it comes down to. I was talking to my mate Matty from BTSC and Steelers Touch and Under, right? These conversations only exist on the internet. If you went to the game, Nathan, I doubt anyone would be there watching and hoping their team to tank. They're going there to watch the team.
How miserable of a mindset is that?
Exactly. You go there, pay what, $300 for a ticket. You sit down, you buy a $10.
Man, I hope we lose this game.
Yeah. You sit down there and you buy a $15 burger, and you're here with your kids, and you're like, oh, who'd you come here to see? Oh, I really want to see our team lose today. The whole row would be like,
I really want to see our team lose today.
Oh, we need the picks. You're joking, right? We're here to see
we need the picks.
Even in a bar setting, when I've been in a bar setting and talking football or talking sport, you always talk about trying to see what the players can do. Like in this game tomorrow, I'm excited to see what Warren can do. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I'm excited, little pieces. Can Frymouth get into the end zone? Can DJ get into the end zone? Can Kevin Dotson continue his blocking skills and move the team forward? Not, I want to see my team lose. There are so many more pieces to the puzzle than just saying, I want to see them lose and lose out. It's definitely more like, can we see a big game from TJ Watt to end the season? Can we see Minka get a pick six? Like little narratives along the way are much more fun than saying tank out, or it doesn't make any sense to me, because I'm excited tomorrow to see Warren play Najee or Kenny Pickett go to Baltimore, dude, and beat Baltimore. Like,
right.
And throw 250 if you can, and I want to see them protect Kenny as well. So the real fans who go to the bars and you have conversations, who's your favorite player? What do you want to see today? They're not saying, I want to see them tank, because honest to goodness, there's no point watching. Turn it off.
Oh, there's not. There's not, dude. Like, I just feel like at that point, you're just not even a fan, bro.
No. Brian says, where are you paying $15 for a burger? At the stadium.
$15 for one burger. Sounds like Hopper Kettle.
They might have saw me coming as an Australian. They just said, you know what, we'll get this guy. We'll get this guy.
Yeah, Claudia, I agree. Pickens should be getting 8 to 10 targets a game at least. 100% he should. I don't understand. I really don't. It's honestly a mystery I don't think will ever be solved until there's some type of change or something like that. Here's a question for Mark, for you guys in the chat. Not quite sure what your guys' thoughts about Myles Jack has been this year, but he is going to be paid $11.5 million next year. You think Myles Jack is going to be a cap casualty? You think they should maybe extend him to spread that money out, or you think that they should just pay him the 11.5?
I'm not sure, because overall I thought he's played, okay to good this year. No real big splash plays, but he does have 100 tackles.
Mm-hmm.
He's tackling. Yeah. Right? I don't think Devin Bush is there next year. So who do you pair? Who do you pair? The middle linebacker with Myles Jack? Does that allow
Yeah.
him to play more of his game? We haven't seen the Miles Jack of the Jaguars, the big plays, the interceptions, the fumbles, that kind of
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
But also the defense hasn't really been playing well up front either until the last 2 weeks. But I think Miles Jack, it could be worth it if he can make some splash plays, get him involved in sacks and forced fumbles and some good coverage stuff. He can do that. But he has 100 tackles, so he's doing something right. He's around the football. Oh, I would love that. That's a play too. But
I know a lot of Steelers fans want Tremaine Edmonds.
Can we have both?
I'm fine if they look. Miles Jack, he hasn't been bad, but I don't think he's been the guy the Steelers hoped that he was going to be bringing him in.
What question is that from Zach? On a scale of 1 to
how's
10,
the
how
modern
is
warfare 2 multiplayer?
Tell you what, I was a king back in the day when I was younger. My kill to death ratio was like 2.6 or 3 point whatever it was in the second one.
2.36.
I was the best, dude. I was like one of the best COD players. Now it's all like sweat fest.
Dude,
like,
Mark,
ridiculous.
COD's been asked the last several years.
The players, man, are just too sweaty. They're just like in the corner and like you can't get. It's not fun anymore, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree though. Miles Jack, he's been a promising player throughout his career. I don't think he's been the guy that the fans and the Steelers were hoping for, but that's not saying he's been bad. I'm fine with
first year though too as well. Like it's not not that bad of a season.
Yeah, it's something that you live with and stuff. I think I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't think that they'll want to pay him the 11.5. I could see him being a cap casualty, to be honest. Maybe they bring him back on a cheaper deal, or maybe I could see them extending him where they don't have to pay him the full 11.5 this year, and they can spread that out over the next 3 years or 2 years or however long. I'm fine with that too. I'm fine if they keep him, bring somebody else next to him. But I don't know. That's kind of been a topic.
Who plays next to him? If Devin Bush is gone, let's say Devin Bush is gone, right? Do you bring up Mark Robinson there? Or the new guy we got, Tay Crowder? He started a few games, right?
Yeah, Mark Robinson has deserved. Mark Robinson.
He reminds me of Vince Williams, though. He just doesn't care about his body. Also, Robert Spillane too. We can't forget him. They've been using him the last 2 games. He's played 100% of snaps. Yeah, Spillane's been in there too. So
yeah, they could always draft somebody if they want to do that. I think Mark Robinson deserves some opportunity.
Maybe that's the bigger question. Maybe Spillane's a bigger question. He's actually played 100% of the snaps 2 games in a row. Maybe they're realizing they're going to use Spillane and Miles Jack because Devin Bush has been off the field. Like I think Devin Bush
Spillane, bro, as a starter, man. I think he's fine as a depth guy. I just don't like him as an every down guy.
Yeah, but they like him.
I think he's limited.
But the Steelers like him though. That's the thing. You don't have no faith in someone for not playing them 100% of the snaps 2 weeks in a row.
But at the same time too, like what else can they use? Like who else they got that they can do that with? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that like Spillane kind of plays that role like Mike Robinson or Vince Williams, that like a kind of thumper. That he'll go into the nitty gritty stuff where you'll see like Devin Bush with his back away. I think he's checked out of football. I think we'll see less and less of him as the more the season goes on if we do extend it.
Yeah, I think he's checked out too, man.
Do you see the way he tackles though? I just don't see.
Yeah, he doesn't get off blocks well. No. It seems like he tries to avoid contact sometimes. But honestly, man, I think I think a lot of that too has to do with the injury because he was playing good football up till he tore his knee in his second season. So he might not be there mentally either. Maybe he realizes he's not going to be the same player. I don't know. But a lot of people wanted Devin Bush, myself included. And he had a nice rookie year. He had a good second year up to when he got hurt, and he hasn't been the same. So I agree. I think they'll move off him. You have a couple options. I would extend Miles Jack probably because if you cut him, then you got 2 holes there at inside linebacker. I'd probably extend him a couple years. Spread that money out. That's not saying that you have to keep him for that long term for that extension or anything, but you spread that money out. You bring somebody in that you might think be a nice complementary piece to him. And you defensive line. I think defensive line free agency's got to be a home run. What about you?
Yeah, if they can go in the draft for that one, but I'm still trying to think about this middle linebacker spot because I think a lot of this stuff does come back to Devin Bush not wanting to play. because there was a few times where Mike Robinson, I think 2 weeks ago, made a few tackles and he pumped up the whole line, right?
Yeah.
And maybe you need a guy like that to pump him up in Mike Robinson to be in there, not to play, but if he's a third guy behind Spillane or whoever, but if you're starting Spillane and say next year it's Spillane and Miles Jack, and then behind them you have Crowder, and maybe you go and draft someone, or you have Mike Robinson to fill in. I think next year also, the fact the moment that TJ went out, the whole defense changed as well, and then Terrell missed a few games. And even tomorrow, if Terrell plays, he plays more down the box too.
Yeah.
So I think overall, they'll probably keep Jack, even though he's high price, a bit more money or whatever. But then if you cut him, then you've got two problems, have you not?
That's what I mean. So now you have two holes. That's why I don't think they're going to cut him. I think they'll extend him. That's what I think they'll do. I don't think they want to pay him the 11.5, but I think they'll extend him to save some money.
Yeah, and he's still young. Why not? He's still a young guy, and if Brian Flores does take over or whoever, this could be a fun defense to watch. But I think you do need that thumping guy in the middle of the field. So, and look, they do like Spillane, so we'll see what happens. But I'm keen to see tomorrow because the Ravens don't give up. And
is he good for tomorrow? He's been injured though, so he's good for tomorrow, isn't he?
I think the one I saw that was out was Ogunjobi's out, I think, or he's like teetering out. I think Jack might be back, Edmonds back, and I think they're the middle linebackers as normal, I think.
Okay. Yeah, they the thing with the offseason is that what sucks is that throughout January it's pretty dry. Like, I know that the playoffs are still going on throughout the month of January, but
Jack's questionable. Trey Norwood's out, and Larry's questionable too.
Okay. Well, we'll see how that turns out. I think with once we start getting into middle of February, that's when free agency talk really kind of starts to get going, because it doesn't officially open till the middle of March, quote unquote, but that's when kind of the rumors and the talks start, and then early March is kind of when the early negotiating period can begin. So I'm excited for that aspect every year. But it's gonna be a fun offseason. The good thing is the Steelers don't really have to do much in terms of their offensive skill positions. If they roll in next year with Najee, Warren, Freiermuth, Pickens, Deontay, still Calvin Austin, that's a nice group. Now, offensive line, we know you got to do a little something there. They don't need to overhaul it. They haven't been as bad as the last 2 years. I think if you keep Mason Cole there at center, I'm okay with that.
He's played good, He's played really good, man.
Yes, he's had a good year.
Yeah.
And Mason Cole,
so James Daniels too. James Daniels,
only 26.
Yeah. James Daniels played pretty good too. I watched the highlights with the Raiders last week, and even Dotson those and Chooks too. They've all played better than before. So
I think it's fine if you keep that right side. That's fine. The left side, I think you got to do something at left guard. I don't like Kevin Dotson there. The Steelers, it seems like they've had their concerns. So I could see something where maybe they draft a tackle early in the draft. I could see something where they sign a better left guard in free agency.
But even if you do, you could still draft the guy and maybe still start Dotson, and things don't work the way, then you got the guy backing up, right? You got to build depth. You need to build depth at that position. But
you do. I just don't think Dotson should be a starter next year. I think he kills too many drives, man.
But with Mason Cole too, he's starting to look like a Steeler. He's been very physical. He stands up for his quarterback.
The attitude,
yeah. Those guys. I think it was a fight last week or the week before. Those guys are starting to get things together. So you're right. There's less holes on the offense building forward. Go into the draft, get a few key pieces from free agency. Here we go. We got Kenny. We got GP. We got Austin coming back. We got Deontay Johnson. I know a lot of people don't like him, but still got him on contract, Right. Steve Sims, you might sign him for a year because he's pretty good.
Bring him back as the returner. Almost every return he has is positive yards.
There could be more holes on the defense and offense next year going forward into a Kenny built year. So yet again, it's not a bad thing. We're winning this way, and we have more top picks. And even Daredevil said, the Claypool one gets better. A 33rd pick, right? They might go offensive line, they might go receiver. I don't know, but they're building that way because Pickens is a guy. These guys are all guys. So I'm excited for this week, dude, and I'm excited for next year too.
Yeah.
because we have their quarterback.
Yeah, and that's it. And that's why even if the Steelers don't make the playoffs, fans should still be encouraged. Fans should still be excited about going into next year because you saw what they've done the second half. You've seen the growth. You've seen the adjustments, the leaps. They need to have a good offseason. Obviously, they got to do some things, which I don't see why they wouldn't. But you should. I think every fan should have some optimism and encouragement going in next year. Absolutely.
Look at even the running back position too. Najee Harris is going to be there. Jalen Warren's into his second year.
Yeah, dude, you got your duo right there. People were clamoring for a guy like Jalen Warren last year.
Yeah, they might be able to go and draft someone or get, they could use McFarlane again. But there seems to be a lot of guys, they're building up in the right way. They're getting younger. Everyone's like 26 years old, 27. It feels like this could be a chance. And even some of the media guys are saying the next 5 years, Steelers could be up there. They can be. And this is why tomorrow is so important. That if they win this game or the playoffs still continue, the progression of the young players. Warren, undrafted guy, he's a second running back for sure.
Yeah,
might never be first. We don't need him to be first. He's the second guy. He's the third down guy. We need him.
Yeah, we do. And then defensively, they definitely need to do something on the defensive line. We know that. I want to see them hit a home run in free agency on a defensive lineman.
And cornerback too. Cornerback's a big thing. They might
corner is another guy. Inside linebacker's a thing as well. What are you going to do there? You bring back Terrell Edmonds. Cam Sutton needs to be re-signed. And then hey, find that third guy on that edge. Malik Reed was not the answer.
All this like manager talk makes me want to go play Madden.
Yeah, go play Madden and go
build my own team and build my team.
I played it last year when I did it. I was playing. I just simulated the Steelers season last year, and I did the off season, and I literally implemented. I tried to literally do every quarterback possible, like Kenny, Willis, Wilson, Rodgers, and just for the fun, just to kind of see how it went. Would you re-sign Benny Snell? Probably not.
That depends who can take over on teams. If someone takes over on teams like a Crowder, or if they, I think Killebrew's also in this teams like that kind of guy. I think he might stick around. Depends.
He should.
He's been playing well too. Who's going to be on teams? Even guys like Boykin. These are the guys, the fans, the Fire Tom and Crowd fans don't talk about Boykin. Don't talk about these guys that even that fourth down play with the quarterback sneak, Boykin helped push Kenny over, right? But the thing with Benny Snell for me is other guys can run the ball better. Yes, he filled in pretty well. You have McFarlane there too. Does he re-sign back? I'm not too sure if he's near it as well. But who can fill in teams? If someone can fill in teams, then there might not be a spot for Benny Snell.
Yeah. There's people that run it better, but special teams is still something that matters. That's still important. Claudia asked, would you keep Derek Watt? I'm pretty sure he's a free agent.
Can we not just use Connor Hayward at fullback? Do you know? I've even heard reports that Kendrick Green could be a fullback because he's big body. I don't know.
Kendrick Green is fullback.
Yeah,
I mean, center and guard isn't working. So,
and he's a big fella. Why can't you use him as a fullback? You know, so
you could use Connor Hayward there. I think Derek Watt. I think Derek Watt. They like him on special teams. Hey, if they want to bring him back on a 2-year deal for cheap, sure. I guess. Z asked, would you lick your own nuts if you could?
Mate,
this is actually a question that Z has answered before. And I have the screenshots of Z's answer. So that's all you got to know.
Oh my goodness.
That's all you got to know. That's what this guy thinks about.
He's a Ravens guy, right?
Yeah, he's a Ravens guy. The Ravens are going to be licking the Steelers' nuts tomorrow night.
Hey, man.
Z was freaking licking mine in 2K last night. I was freaking blowing him out of the water, too.
J-Devil, look, see, a lot of these questions, too. J-Devil, Claude, Brian are all saying these are all teams, guys, it's a very, very, very important questions. Is Marcus Allen going to stay? Another one, I don't know if he's going to stay.
He should have been cut. I don't care what anybody says.
It all depends if they can play the role in teams because they have no real role in defense, you know? So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just Marcus Allen to me. He's been on the team for 5 years now. He doesn't really bring anything to the table.
You know, he hasn't made a splash play ever.
No, he just hasn't. I don't think about it. If Marcus Allen on the team now, and he's not on the team next year, are we going to tell a difference? Probably not.
No,
probably not. Let's see. Yeah, if you guys keep shooting the questions, guys. If you guys have any questions or any thoughts, any comments you want to put out there, we read both. Whatever you want to put out there.
Marcus Allen has legit never made a splash play. The only 2 splash plays he's made is tackle for a loss in the backfield twice in 4 years. He's never had a sack, never had a fumble, never had an interception, never had a pass deflection. How crazy is that? He's never around the ball. Never. That's amazing.
1 second.
Yeah, he's had stuff yards 2, which means tackle for loss twice. And that's 3 yards. Other than that, he's never had, when he's been on defense, he's never ever had a splash play. No sack, no fumble, no interception, nothing. No TD. No pass deflection, man. He's never even got the ball in his hands.
Yeah. I know a lot of people want the Steelers to draft Joey Porter in the first round. What do you think about that? Joey Porter Jr., the corner.
Yeah, well, they definitely need some more because I'm not a really big fan of what Levi Wallace has been doing too. I think he's been a bit of a dud for the Steelers.
Is Akello Witherspoon playing this weekend?
He's trying to come back. He's trying to come back off the IR, but I don't think he's playing this weekend. I think the report, I think he's still on IR, so they haven't brought him back. The only one I think is going to be out because they activated a defensive tackle, so I think Larry Ogunjobi is going to be out. So we might see
Akello Witherspoon's 100% going to be cut after this year. There's no way they keep him around. Levi Wallace, I'm okay if they want to keep him another year. He's had a little bit of injuries. He's kind of hot and cold, it seems like certain games. But I'm fine there because you re-sign Cam Sutton, you keep Levi Wallace there, who's not an expensive contract.
I reckon re-sign Millette, man. He's been a veteran leader.
They can re-sign him.
He's been amazing
Pierce
for our
fine
team.
as a back-end corner. I would like to see them sign a corner in free agency, like a slot type guy. I'd like to see that. They can always draft a corner early in the first or second round. They can always do that too. So I don't know. That's always an option. George says Porter played better last year. In his opinion, doesn't seem like he wants to get hurt. I don't really know, man. I haven't watched any Penn State games this year, so I cannot sit here and say I have an opinion on Joey Porter. I just know a lot of people like him. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, Mark, what do you think about, speaking of Lamar Jackson, what do you think about, you think Lamar Jackson's going to stay with the Ravens?
No, I think he's gone, man.
I think he is too.
I think he's gone. I think they're going to part ways, and the Ravens might go to the draft. The Ravens might play with Huntley. The Ravens, I don't know. Ask Zach what they're going to do. I don't know.
Well, him and I have had these conversations. And if the Ravens would franchise tag Lamar Jackson, it's going to be $45 million. Don't think the Ravens want to pay that. Then they have Roquan Smith, who's a free agent. So I think they're going to tag Roquan Smith. And I definitely think they're going to offer Lamar a deal. But I think he's going to take himself elsewhere that has some more talent offensively. Because if the Ravens are going to give Lamar Jackson his big contract, if they were not able to give him help while he was under a rookie contract, what makes you think they're going to do that?
Is he a free agent or is he tradable?
Well, he's a free agent, but if they would trade him, they would tag him and then trade him.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Right. So what makes any Raven fan think that if they're going to give Lamar a big contract, they're going to go out and get these top tier wide receivers for him? You know what I mean? So I think if you're Lamar, you're looking at probably other options. But I've even said to Z, who's a Ravens fan, I'm like, look, if I was a Ravens fan, sure, is it a hard decision? Yeah. But if the Ravens have been sitting in the purgatory they have been in the last 3 to 4 years, and Lamar has been injured the last 2 years, and he's missed double-digit games over the last 2 years combined. Do you really want to invest all that into him? And then you can't really do much with your team, right? You can't really get your team from here to here, right? So I said I would lock down Roquan Smith, do whatever you got to do on defense, bring some help to whatever quarterback you're going to use going forward, and strengthen your team around while you're not paying a quarterback. Does that make sense? So Z says, part of me thinks the Ravens spent way too much money on their secondary. Yeah, they probably did. Peters, Chuck Clark, that could go to wide receiver.
They're going to part ways. I'm not even sure if Lamar Jackson's going to play for the playoffs. Like, the Ravens are in a really bad spot. this playoff run. They need
Well,
to go out.
he's
and
definitely not
come
going to
with
get
all.
the contract he wanted. That's for sure.
So they might be playing with Huntley into the playoffs. That's it.
Well, they might. I think they said Lamar's timetable was 4 to 6 weeks on his knee. So I don't know. Maybe by the first game of the playoffs, he might maybe he'll be ready to go. Or I don't even know about next week. But
then
Ravens are going to have an interesting offseason.
He's going to be very, very rusty as well. I could see him moving on, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, we listed the 3 teams we think it's going to be if he doesn't go back to the Ravens. You got the Dolphins, they got the Jets, and Atlanta. When you look at all 3 of those teams,
I could see the Jets. Robert Salah, good coach over there, defensive coach. He needs a guy like that, run the football, play defense. I can see that.
Yeah.
The Jets might be a go, and big
well, the Jets are
names
100% getting a new quarterback. Derek Carr could be an option for them. They have a good defense. They're gonna have Breece Hall back. They got Garrett Williams, Corey Davis. They got Elijah Moore.
Jets could be the go, man.
They really could.
Yeah,
they really could. I know that as an organization, they've been asked the last 10 years, but still,
they would take him on. They would love
built
to
their
see,
offensive line.
Yeah, they would love to see Lamar over there and play his kind of football and run the football in their kind of offense and play good defense. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
But,
well, that's it. So I don't really even know what direction they would go with quarterback. But we look at tomorrow night, the Ravens. They're still playing. They're still playing for. They clinched their playoff spot. But they're still playing for the division.
Playing for the North. They got to win tomorrow. They got to win versus the Bengals to get the North.
Yes,
so
exactly. So
if
they're
they
still
lose tomorrow,
playing. No matter the Steelers' outcome into that game, they're still playing for that. Claudia says Lamar to Tampa Bay. I don't know quite about that. I could see Derek Carr going to Tampa Bay.
Jesus.
It's just Tampa Bay. They've got a lot of money locked into a lot of guys. That's the only thing. And I think Lamar, he's going to look somewhere where there's money to work with and stuff like that. But I don't know. We'll get close to wrapping up here, guys. If you have any more questions or comments, feel free. Mark, where does Tom Brady play next year?
Hopefully, in the NFL Network.
Yeah, NFL Network.
I'm actually like
46 years old, Mark. If he plays next year,
I am overseeing Tom Brady in a uniform. I'm just done.
Yeah.
I'll just move on, mate. Like seriously, move on.
Dude.
Let someone else
stop
play.
hanging on, man.
So the Ravens can win the division, I think, with a win tomorrow, and
they got to beat the Bengals,
and then you got to beat the Bengals next week. If they lose tomorrow, they need the Buffalo Bills to win and then win next week. So the Ravens are still playing for the North, but back to Brady. I'm just done. Man. Just like 46 years old, mate. Give it up. Let someone else play football. Give someone else a chance.
Yeah, no, I agree, dude. Dude, look, Tom should have retired this offseason. I don't care what anybody says. He had a good year last year. They lost in the first round or second round of the playoffs, whatever it is. And leave it at that, bro. You have nothing else to accomplish. So Zach asked who's the Steelers backup next year. Well, Mason Rudolph's going to be gone. There's no way he comes back. Mitch Trubisky, they're not going to pay $10 million to him to be a backup. He's going to get cut. Mark, who's someone that you could see being our backup next year?
I actually think that they might go out and get Josh Jobs back. I
can see that. I've been seeing people say that.
He's he had a press conference after his game. He had his first start, got his first TD in Tennessee, and he said he's never really given a bit of opportunity. So they might go out and give him a bit of coin to play behind Kenny. That could happen. I think if you go out and get any veteran, you get Dobbs. I think you bring him back for the third time. Now, I also think that Mason Rudolph might be out there too, but he might be trying to find another team to start, possibly.
He's going to go somewhere, a team that whether they draft a quarterback or they bring somebody in to be a bridge guy, he's just going to go where there's
Rudolph's going to go one of those teams where they're like, they don't know who they want to start, and they might start a guy 3 or 4, a bit like our season this season, right? There's no clear starter. Kenny's a clear starter, by the way. Kenny's clear starter until he doesn't need to be. So Rudolph might go to a team like the Colts where they don't know what they're doing. They might play Rudolph or whatever. Dobbs didn't get whipped by Dallas. He didn't. Go watch. He was okay.
He was okay.
He played pretty good, man. Dallas got helped out. I tell you what, Dallas got helped out in that game a lot. In that game, I thought
I'm not sold on Dallas at all.
And that was his. You know what? That was his first game as well. He ran when he needed to. Yes, he got 2 sacks. He threw an interception. But Dobbs played pretty okay for his first game. And also, the reason why I say Dobbs is because he's got ties to the Steelers and he knows what they're like. He knows Tomlin. He was there for 3 years under Ben. If you bring him back with Kenny Pickett, he's very smart. He was always talking with Ben on the sidelines. He might be able to help out the offense and have another quarterback mind there. I don't really trust Trubisky in our team. I don't think he's a Steeler. I don't think he really cares to be there. And Rudolph wants to go play somewhere else. I can dead set he wants to.
Right. No, he definitely does. And there's a few guys out there. It's kind of like, hey, like if they want to go out in the free agency and look at a guy, like bring somebody in that just Kenny can kind of lean on. I think that's what you want to do.
They need a vet that wants to be there. And I could see a guy like Dobbs like that. You know, I just don't think Trubisky's going to be there with, like you said, with the money. I think he's almost checked out. He kind of knows that he stuffed his job up, right? The first few weeks he stuffed it up. It was meant to be his job, and he stuffed it. So don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know who else you would get. I don't know who else is a free agent. I don't know. You're not bringing in Baker. You're not bringing in guys like that.
No, Taylor Heineke's a free agent.
Yeah, he'd be okay. He fights, man. He fights.
Yeah. I mean,
so I don't know who you would bring in. You're not bringing in Minshew, like guys like that. Who else? You're not bringing in. Well, Jimmy won't do it. Tannehill, maybe possibility, but he's like more of a starter.
Tannehill.
I would love to see. You know what? The Browns stuffed it up. I would love to see Brissett. Brissett's a guy too. He played he played good to fantastic this year, and they went on to Watson because they had to bring him in. Brissett was winning games for the Browns. I would like to see him. Anyone like that?
Yeah. There's some options. It's I was pretty excited last year for the Steelers offseason just because with Ben retiring and stuff like that. But I think this year I think I'm even more excited for it this year, honestly, just because they kind of know what they have right now. They know where their team's at, what changes got to be made. And I think that it's going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining. I think it's going to be an aggressive offseason. I think it's going to be one of the better Steeler off seasons they've had in quite a while. And I think, too, just because you have that newness in the front office with Omar Khan, Andy Weidel, who was with the Eagles, and they're going to be wanting to do their own thing. And so, and that's the thing, too. Brissett, maybe he might want his own starting gig if there's an opportunity. It depends if there's an opportunity out there or not. But, all right, so, guys, we're going to go to the predictions for tomorrow night, and we're going to end it there. So, guys, put your thoughts in the comments. Do the Steelers win tomorrow night? Are they going to be alive heading into the game? Final score predictions, et cetera, et cetera. Mark, first question. Going into the game Sunday night, will the Steelers be playing something meaningful?
Oh, 100. I think the other two teams they're playing for meaningful spots as well. Seahawks are playing for the playoffs, and so are the Pats. And there's no tour, so I think that there's going to be a meaningful game for Steelers versus Ravens. I think those two teams have to win, and they need to win, and they should win. Geno Smith, Mac Jones run the ball on both sides, win the game against the Jets, win the game against the Dolphins. The Dolphins are on a landslide, mate. They've lost 6 in a row. They are absolutely shitting the bed. So it's time to see those two teams lose, and then maybe that's the reason why they scheduled it, because they know there's more of a chance these teams are favorite. The Jets might give it a bit of trouble because they're starting Mike White again. I wish they were starting Wilson. They're starting Mike White. They're better with him. That could be a very entertaining game. But Seahawks, if they can do us a favor, then the Steelers are going to play some meaningful football.
Well, I hope so, Mark. I really hope so. I like yours and both. Daniel's prediction. Brian said 16-14 Steelers. Claudia's sticking with Daniel's score there. 24-13. George says 39-18 Steelers. 2 defensive or special team touchdowns. That would be pretty sweet. Claudia says Minka with a pick 6. I agree. I think the Steelers will be alive come Sunday night. I agree. The Dolphins have been on a big slide. A lot of things are falling apart right now. And they were a team a month ago, 2 months ago, you're looking at is like, hey, like they can maybe make a run.
They were 8-3.
Yeah, they were 8-3, and now they're at 8-7.
Mm-hmm.
So Tua's out. They have a defense that's kind of falling apart. And they got to play a team in New England that is also playing for playoffs too. So I think New England will win that game. Seattle, Jets, Seattle, are they at home? Seattle home?
Yep, they're home. They're playing for playoffs, man.
They're playing for a wild card spot, guys. So
exactly.
I think the Steelers will be alive come there. and I think they will beat the Ravens on Sunday night as well. I am going 21-17. Steelers take the win on that one. And we will head into another week of the Steelers playoff talks. Steelers staying alive, and the Steelers will be sitting at, what will the record be at that point? 8-8?
8-8.
8-8.
Chance for never losing season, or I guess no 9-8, right? I'm gonna go Steelers a bit higher. I think that their offense is pretty sparked up. If they can run the ball effectively, Kenny Pickett's another week and a chance. I think Kenny can go off this game. I'm gonna go 20, not 28. Let's go 29.
Almost 30 points.
Yeah, 29 against. How many will the Ravens score? 29-16, something like that. Because field goals,
29-16.
Field goals.
I would love to see it, man. I hope Kenny throws for a couple touchdowns. I'd love to see Najee have a big game. Get George Pickens the targets, man.
Feed him, mate. Feed him this game.
You need to do that. Get a turnover or two on Huntley. Get some sacks up there. That's what they need to do. So I don't know, but guys, that's what we're going with. We see everybody in the chat picking Steelers. We're picking Steelers this weekend, and we think it will be at least one more week of Steelers staying alive after this week. So it's a big afternoon, guys. Tomorrow, big afternoon. I'm sure you guys will be watching or paying attention. But guys, we appreciate all you guys in the chat, all you guys who were in the chat. Follow Mark's channel, guys, at Steelers Nation Australia. He posts content weekly, talking Steelers and everything else along those lines. You guys can follow my channel right here where you're at In Hindsight. I also talk other things than just Steelers, other Pittsburgh teams, and other things going on in sports as well, if you guys are into that. So we will be back Tuesday, I believe, Mark, on your channel, correct?
Yep, and we'll be talking, hopefully talking playoffs.
Yeah, so hopefully Tuesday, we will be back on Mark's channel. And hopefully we'll still be talking about playoffs on Tuesday night. So Happy New Year, guys. Enjoy the night tonight. Stay safe. Take it easy. And let's go Steelers. And let's hope for a win tomorrow. And let's hope for a Seahawks and a Patriots win as well. So anyway, guys, that is it for us here. Thank you all. We will see you Tuesday. Happy New Year.
Playoffs.